Hello students, welcome back to Effortless Chemistry. Already we have started the group 16 of the P block elements. In the last session we have discussed up to that is the preparation and the properties of SO2. Now we will discuss oxo acids of sulfur. Oxo acids. Of sulfur. Oxo acids of sulfur. The sulfur forms many oxo acids. We will write all the oxo acids of sulfur first. First one I will write H2SO3, H2SO4, H2SO5. Next one I will write thioacids H2S2O2, H2S2O3. Next one H2S2O4, H2S2O6, H2S2O5, H2S2O7. Okay, still two more are there. First we will discuss these things. That is in this one, first one I will write with star mark. The acids which are written with a star mark, they are us acid. Lower oxidation state is us acid and higher oxidation state of the sulfur is ic acids. Okay, this is a sulfurous acid. Sulfurous acid. And this is well known already, you know this one, sulfuric acid. And this is also sulfuric acid only, but in this one it is called as peroxymonosulfuric acid. Peroxymonosulfuric acid. Always you keep in mind, peroxy means they are having a peroxy linkage, like this is two oxygens, they are connected continuously with a single bond. And this peroxy acid, this is having SOOH bond. Okay, SOOH bond it is. Okay, peroxy means. Next one, again in this one, this is us acid and this is ic acid. So here I have written H2S2O2 and O3, H2S2O4, O6. Even number I have separated here. This is with star mark is us acid, without star mark is what? Ic acid. And these acids are called as thioacids because they contain SS double bond here. This is, I will call it as thiosulfurous acid, and this is thiosulfuric acid. This is us acid with star mark, without star mark is ic acid. These thioacids always they contain what? SS double bond. If oxo acid contain SS double bond, then they are called as what? Thioacids. Next one, again it is us acid. Okay, dithiosulfurous acid it is. Dithiosulfurous acid. Thioacids contain SS double bond and these dithioacids contain SS single bond. SS single bond is dithio, SS double bond is what? Thioacids here. So again this is called as what? That is this is the dithiosulfuric acid. Dithiosulfuric acid and it is higher oxidation state. Again it contains what? SS single bond. Next, this is again us acid H2S2O5 and O7. They are containing that odd number of oxygen. You keep in mind these pyroacids. These are called as what? Pyroacids. This is pyrosulfurous acid and pyrosulfuric acid here. Pyro means they are containing SOS linkage here. Pyrosulfurous acid, and this is pyrosulfuric acid, and this is these two are pyro means always you keep in mind pyro acid contains SOS linkage and this also what? SOS link as it is. Okay, and this is a peroxy monosulfuric acid. It is having a special name. This is also called as Kouros acid. This is a Kouros acid, and this pyrosulfuric acid, it is also having another name called as oleum. Pyrosulfuric acid is called as oleum. This oleum is nothing but, it is also called as fuming sulfuric acid. Fuming sulfuric acid. Okay, and still 2-3 are remaining here. Another is there, that is peroxy disulfuric acid is there. So you have to concentrate on each and every acid. With star is us acid, without star is what? Ic acids. And this is the peroxy monosulfuric acid, which is having SOOH bond. And here H2S2O7, this is a pyrosulfuric acid having SOS bond, nothing but it is also called as oleum, called as fuming sulfuric acid here. Okay, next one. I'll write the formula H2S2O8. This is without star mark, means it is ic acid. Peroxy disulfuric acid, and it's having a special name called as Marshall's acid. Marshall's acid. And this peroxy disulfuric acid, it is having one peroxy linkage, that is SOOS linkage. It is having what? SOOS linkage in this one. Now I will write the structure of some important oxo acids. First one I will write sulfurous acid, that is H2SO3. Always you keep in mind, all the oxo acids, they contain at least one S double bond O and one SOH bond. This one you keep in mind here. Okay, now I will write this sulfur. It is having one S double bond O and remaining 2 oxygen, they are connected in the form of OH, and it is having one lone pair of electron, because sulfur forms 6 bond, and here one lone pair of electron is there, and remaining are what? Remaining 4 bonds are there. So this is having what? Pyramidal shape, and this is the structure of sulfurous acid. Sulfurous acid. These structures are very, very important. You have to remember. Next one I will write H2SO4 sulfuric acid. In the sulfuric acid, just what you have to do is you replace this lone pair of electron with another oxygen, that is S double bond O. You will get the structure of sulfuric acid. S double bond O. This is S double bond O, and this is OH, and this also OH. This is what? Sulfurous acid, and this is sulfuric acid. And the next one is peroxy monosulfuric acid, that is H2SO5. Already I told you, in case of peroxy monosulfuric acid, it is having one peroxy linkage, that is SOOH bond. Simply you have to write H2SO4 structure like this. Okay, this is H2SO4 structure. Here just what you have to do is you have to add another oxygen like this. This is peroxy monosulfuric acid. It is peroxy monosulfuric acid. Okay, next one I will write pyrosulfuric acid and peroxy disulfuric acid. First one we will write pyrosulfuric acid. Always you keep in mind, pyro means it is having SOS linkage. So in order to write this pyrosulfuric acid structure, first you have to write the formula H2S2O7. The simple hint to write the structure of pyrosulfuric acid is you write 2 moles of H2SO4 like this. This is 2 moles of H2SO4. I will write like this. From the 2 moles of H2SO4, just you have to remove one water molecule like this. Okay, if you remove this water molecule, then what is remaining? This oxygen is connected to the sulfur directly, so that you will get a structure like this. This is your pyrosulfuric acid, this OH as it is, this side OH as it is, just you have to connect these two sulfur with oxygen here. So this is the oxygen, sulfur, double bond oxygen, and this is OH. So this is the structure of pyrosulfuric acid. Next one, we will write a peroxy disulfuric acid. That the formula of peroxy disulfuric acid is H2 AS2O8. This is your peroxy disulfuric acid. Okay, in this one again you have to write the 2 moles of H2SO4 like this. In order to write the structure of peroxy disulfuric acid, you take 2 moles of H2SO4 like this. Just you have to remove the hydrogen molecule between the 2 sulfuric acid molecule. So here also you have to remove hydrogen, and here also you have to remove one hydrogen, so that these 2 oxygens are connected here. Just you are removing H2 here. So what you will get here? You will get SOOS bond, that is a S double bond O, S double bond O, oxygen, oxygen, and this is sulfur, S double bond O, and this is OH, and this is your OH. So this is the structure of what? Peroxy disulfuric acid. Now we will discuss an important method for the preparation of sulfuric acid by the contact process, that is industrial method for the preparation of H2SO4. Now preparation of, or we will write manufacture of H2SO4 sulfuric acid by contact process. This is very important in group 16, and for a board point of view also they will ask a question on this one. Okay, so this involves 3 steps. Step 1 I will write. Step 1, burning of sulfur in air to form sulfur dioxide. In the first step what we will do is, sulfur is burnt in excess of oxygen to form what? SO2. Once SO2 is formed, this SO2 is oxidized to the SO3 by using V2O5 as the catalyst, that is a catalytic oxidation of SO2 to the SO3. Second step, catalytic oxidation of SO2 to the SO3 by oxygen. So SO2 is oxidized to SO3 by the oxygen in presence of what? V2O5 as the catalyst. That will write this reaction, SO2 combines with one oxygen. So this is a reversible reaction, keep in mind. One SO2 combines with one oxygen to form what? One SO3 molecule. So we will write O2 here. 2 times of SO2 combines with 2 oxygen to form 2 times of SO3, and this oxidation takes place in presence of what? That is a vanadium pentoxide as the catalyst. This reaction is exothermic in nature. This is the key step in the manufacture of contact process, oxidation of SO2 to the SO3 here. Okay, next step, that is step 3. SO3 is absorbed. SO3 is absorbed in H2SO4 to form oleum. One point you keep in mind here, actually once SO3 is obtained, this SO3 on dissolving in water, it gives what here? H2SO4. Directly you can get sulfuric acid, but the reaction between these two is highly exothermic, so that there is a violent reaction is there between these two, hence this step is avoided. So here what we are doing is SO3 is absorbed in what? H2SO4 to form the oleum. First oleum is formed here. So what we will do is SO3 plus H2SO4. So you combine these two, what you will get here? H2S2O7, that is a fuming sulfuric acid, nothing but pyrosulfuric acid you will get. H2S2O7. This is there is a formation of what? Oleum it is. Okay. Then this oleum is diluted to the required quantity to give the H2SO4. That is step 4. In the step 4 what happens? Oleum is diluted to give H2SO4 of the required concentration. Okay, as per requirement, that oleum is diluted to get the H2SO4. Simply you have to add water to the H2S2O7, that is oleum, plus that is water, then you will get what here? 2 times of H2SO4 here, that is 2 times of H2SO4. Okay, this is what the 4 important steps you have to write in the manufacture of H2SO4 by the contact process. And on this one they will ask another question, write the optimum condition for the maximum yield of the H2SO4 in the contact process. That we will discuss now. That is mainly in that one you have to concentrate on what? This step. This is the key step in the manufacture of H2SO4, that is nothing but catalytic oxidation of SO2 to the SO3. Once you get SO3, directly you will get what? H2SO4. Just by adding to the H2SO4 you will get oleum. Oleum is diluted to the what? Diluted with water to give H2SO4 here, that is sulfuric acid is obtained, and here the sulfuric acid obtained is 96 to the 98% pure sulfuric acid is obtained here. Okay, I will write that question. So that question is write optimum condition for maximum yield of H2SO4 in contact process. So here one point you have to remember, in the manufacture of H2SO4 by the contact process, the formation of SO3 is important. Once you get that SO3, just by adding to the water or by absorbing in H2SO4, you will get what? H2SO4. So the key step in the manufacture of H2SO4 is what? The formation of SO3 here. First point we will write. For this question we will write the answer. The key step in the manufacture of H2SO4 is catalytic oxidation of SO2 to the SO3. So this is very important step. So based on this only we will decide whether the maximum yield of H2SO4 is obtained or not here. So the reaction is, this reaction is reversible reaction. SO2 combines with O2 and this is a reversible reaction. It is a catalytic oxidation, means it takes place in presence of V2O5. The formation of SO3, that is 2 times of SO2 combines with O2 to form 2 times of SO3, and this reaction is exothermic. The very important point is this reaction is exothermic. For the formation of SO3, delta H value is negative, hence it is exothermic reaction. So this is also gas now, and this also gas, and this also gas. Now for this reversible reaction we can apply the Le-Catellier principle, since it is attaining equilibrium here. Okay, so first according to the Le-Catellier principle, it is being exothermic reaction. Low temperature favors the formation of what? SO3. And next thing is, at the equilibrium, if you apply the pressure, what happens here? The reaction will move in such a direction that from higher number of moles to the lower number of moles. At equilibrium, if you apply the pressure, what happens? This side the pressure will increase, so that it will move from what? Left side to the right hand side. So that according to the Lee-Kettler principle, low temperature and high pressure favors the formation of what? SO3. Thereby you will get maximum yield of H2SO4 here. So according to Lee-Kettler principle, low temperature and high pressure and high pressure favors formation of SO3. So this is the point, very very important. But in practice, in the plant they will maintain, but in practice the temperature nearly equal to 720 Kelvin and a pressure of 2 bar, and the catalyst used for this process is V2O5. So these are the optimum conditions for the maximum yield of H2SO4 by the contact process. Now we will go for properties of H2SO4. H2SO4, it is a colorless, dense, oily liquid with a specific gravity of 1.84, and it is having high boiling point since it is involved in the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Properties of H2SO4, well, right. Properties of H2SO4. The first point is it is colorless, dense, oily liquid with a specific gravity of 1.84. It has high boiling point and it is highly viscous liquid. It's a high boiling point and its viscosity is because of what? That H2SO4 molecules are involved in the intermolecular hydrogen bonding. I can show that intermolecular hydrogen bonding like this. Suppose if I take one H2SO4 molecule like this, okay, S double bond O, and this is OH, and this is OH like this, another S double bond O, double bond O, and this will be your OH, and this is your OH here. So these are the two molecules of H2SO4, and this is a partial negative and this is partial positive. There is a intermolecular hydrogen bonding between the hydrogen of one molecule and oxygen of another molecule. This is a partial positive and this is what? Partial negative. So this is intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So because of this, it is having high boiling point and its thickness or its viscosity is because of what? Its intermolecular hydrogen bonding here. Next point, it dissolves in water with evolution of large amount of heat. So this H2SO4 is highly soluble in the water, but it dissolves in water with the liberation of what? Large amount of heat. That's why the care must be taken while preparing the H2SO4 solution. That concentrated H2SO4 solution must be added to the water slowly with the constant stirring. Otherwise, what happens? It will be producing some bumps here. That's why care must be taken. Care must be taken while while preparing solution of H2SO4, concentrated H2SO4, must be added to water slowly with constant stirring. With the constant stirring it is. Next point. So the next point is it acts as strong acid. It acts as strong acid in aqueous medium. It dissociates in 2 steps. This H2SO4 is what already we know that it is a strong acid. Suppose this H2SO4 is added to the water, it will dissociate into 2 steps. In the first step it will give 1 proton, and in the next second step it will give another proton, that is H2SO4 added to the water. So it is a strong electrolyte, we will use a single added arrow mark. Then this H plus ion is given by the H2SO4, it will form H3O plus HSO4 minus is formed here. Okay, so for the first step, the Ka value, the dissociation constant for the acids, Ka value is equal to 10 here. Okay, I will write it as Ka1 for the first step. Next what happens, this HSO4 minus, again it will dissociate to give another proton. So HSO4 minus plus water, it will give another proton here, so that there is a formation of H3O plus. This water accepts a proton from the HSO4 minus, then there is a formation of SO4 minus 2 here. So for this step, whenever the second proton is given by the H2SO4, that HSO4 minus, for this step Ka2 value is equal to 1.2 into 10 power minus 2 it is. So if we compare Ka1 value and Ka2 value, the Ka1 value is very high as compared to the Ka2 value. So another point is there, greater the value of Ka, stronger is the acid here. As the Ka value increases, that acidic strength also increases. I will write one point here, greater the Ka value, greater the value of Ka, stronger is the acid, stronger is the acid. See here, in this one Ka value for the first step is maximum as compared to the second step. That's why H2SO4 is a stronger acid as compared to the HSO4 minus ion. So for H2SO4, Ka1 is very high as compared to the Ka2 value here. Because what happens here? Because dissociation of HSO4 minus to give H plus ion is difficult here. Okay, so what happens in this one? This is not giving proton readily, hence its Ka value is less. In the first step H2SO4 it is giving proton readily, hence Ka value is more. As the Ka value increases, acidic nature increases, and its ease with which that proton is released, that also increase here. So this is in the aqueous medium, it acts as strong acid. Then in the first step it gives one proton, forms HSO4 minus, and this HSO4 minus again it gives another proton to form H3O plus and SO4 minus 2. In these two steps, for the first step Ka value is very high. That's why H2SO4 is a stronger acid than the HSO4 minus ion, because it gives proton readily as compared to the HSO4 minus ion. Next one. So next point is this H2SO4 has strong affinity towards water. H2SO4 has strong affinity towards water, hence it acts as very good dehydrating agent. Hence it acts as very good dehydrating agent. Here dehydrating agent is nothing but it will remove water. Okay, it removes water from the organic compound. It removes water from organic compounds, which is evident by its charring action on carbohydrates. See here, this H2SO4 it is having a strong affinity towards water, hence it acts as what? Very good dehydrating agent. Means whenever the concentrated H2SO4 is treated with organic compounds, it removes water from the organic compound, and that will be evident by what? Its charring action on the carbohydrate. For example, if I write C12 H22O11, this will be your sucrose. This on treating with concentrated H2SO4. This concentrated H2SO4 acts as what? Very good dehydrating agent, so that it removes water from the organic compound. So how many water molecules will be formed here? 11 water molecules will be formed, and remaining that carbon is coming outside. So entirely it removes what? Water from the organic compound. That 12 carbon atom as it is, we have to write, and remaining is what? 11 water molecules. Okay, the next reaction you can take glucose also, C6H12O6. okay, this directly on treating with concentrated H2SO4, it removes water from the carbohydrate. How many water molecules are possible here? 6 water molecule, 6 carbon is coming outside as it is, plus 6 water molecule. So we will write some other example for the dehydration of the organic compounds by concentrated H2SO4. This is a very, very important reaction, you have to remember. In this one, so in almost all organic topic you will get these reactions of concentrated H2SO4, that is a dehydrating property of concentrated H2SO4. So if I take one ethanol, that is CH3 CH2OH, this is ethyl alcohol I will take here. So I will write an hydrogen here. Okay, this ethyl alcohol on treating with concentrated H2SO4, okay, at high temperature. At high temperature what happens here? This concentrated H2SO4, it removes a water molecule from the ethyl alcohol, so that these two are removed here. From here one sigma bond is removed, and from here one sigma bond is removed here, so that the resulting compound will be what here? You will get CH2 double bond CH2 plus water molecule is eliminated. So alcohols on treating with concentrated H2SO4 at high temperature, intramolecular dehydration takes place. Intramolecular means within one molecule only you are removing one water molecule, so that there is a formation of alkene plus water. So your product will be alkene. The same reaction if I take, this is CH3, okay, or else I will write 2 moles of ethyl alcohol, CH3 CH2, this is OH, and CH3 CH2, this will be OH, and 2 moles of ethyl alcohol on treating with concentrated H2SO4, and at the lower temperature. This is high temperature and this is low temperature. The reaction is same. Ethyl alcohol treated with concentrated H2SO4, high temperature, alkene is the answer. Ethyl alcohol treated with concentrated H2SO4, low temperature, answer is ether you will get, because here intermolecular dehydration takes place here. Intermolecular dehydration is what here? Okay, intermolecular dehydration means you have to remove one water molecule between the 2 moles of ethyl alcohol. So if you remove water molecule here, this oxygen is connected to this carbon now. So what you will get here? Ether, CH3, CH2, O, CH2, CH3 plus one water molecule is removed. So the product will be what? Ether. So high temperature intramolecular dehydration, alkene. Low temperature intermolecular dehydration, your answer is ether. This is how it removes the water from the organic compound. Suppose if I take oxalic acid, that is a C double bond O, OH. Again this will be C double bond O, OH. Again this on treating with concentrated H2SO4. What it does? It removes water. Just you have to remove one water molecule here. After removing one water molecule, this becomes as CO2 and this becomes as CO. So your answer will be CO plus CO2 plus H2O. Suppose if I take formic acid, HC double bond O, OH. This on treating with concentrated H2SO4. This is a dehydrating property of H2SO4. Here you have to remove one water molecule from the formic acid. Remaining is what here? CO plus H2O. This is what the strong affinity of H2SO4 towards the water whenever concentrated H2SO4 is treated with organic compound having water molecule. It removes the water molecule from the organic compound. This is what the examples of dehydrating property of the H2SO4. Next we will go for oxidizing property of H2SO4. Now oxidizing property of H2SO4. Here in this one H2SO4 it acts as a very good oxidizing agent because it decomposes to give the nascent oxygen. Since it gives the nascent oxygen, it acts as what? Oxidizing agent here. In this one, this H2SO4 is reduced to the SO2 by oxidizing metal as well as non-metals. By the H2SO4, metals as well as non-metals are oxidized here. So here I will write H2SO4 decomposes to give nascent oxygen, hence it acts as oxidizing agent. Suppose this H2SO4 is heated, so on heating it decomposes to give one water molecule plus one SO2 plus one nascent oxygen. Since it is giving a nascent oxygen, it acts as what? Oxidizing agent. It oxidizes both metal as well as non-metal and it is reduced to what? SO2. So H2SO4 is reduced to SO2 by oxidizing metals and non-metals. It oxidizes both metals as well as non-metals. You see here in the H2SO4, the sulfur, it is in the form of sulfate, where the oxidation state of sulfur is what? +6. It will be reduced to the SO2 in each reaction, where the oxidation state of sulfur is +4. That's why it undergo reduction and acting as what? Oxidizing agent here. So first we will write oxidizing property of H2SO4 with the non-metals. It oxidizes carbon to the carbon dioxide. First one, this is a reaction with carbon H2SO4. So it is giving H2O plus SO2 plus one nascent oxygen is given outside. So now what happens? This carbon combines with nascent oxygen, it takes two nascent oxygen and it will convert into what? CO2. Carbon combined with two nascent oxygen, here only one nascent oxygen is there, so it is multiplied with 2 here. Now you have to balance the reaction. Two nascent oxygen get cancels and this now carbon, it reacts with 2 moles of H2SO4, giving, that is 2 moles of water plus 2 moles of SO2 plus CO2 is obtained here. So this carbon combines with H2SO4, so that this H2SO4 is reduced to the SO2 and carbon is oxidized to the CO2 here. Next reaction, oxidation of sulfur, that is H2SO4 decomposes to give H2O plus SO2 plus 1 nascent oxygen. Sulfur combines with 2 oxygen to form SO2. 2 nascent oxygen required here, only 1 is there, multiplied with 2. Now 2 nascent oxygen get cancels. This 1 sulfur combines with what? 2 moles of H2SO4 plus 2 moles of, and here you will get arrow mark, then 2 moles of water is obtained, 2 moles of SO2 plus here another mole of SO2 is there. In total you can write 3 moles of SO2 here. So this is what sulfur is oxidized to the SO2. Okay. Next one, H2SO4, again it decomposes to give H2O, SO2 and 1 nascent oxygen is coming outside. Copper is oxidized to the copper sulfate. I'll take copper, this copper combines with 1 nascent oxygen forming copper oxide. This copper oxide being basic in nature, again it reacts with what? H2SO4. So we'll take another mole of H2SO4, it reacts with copper oxide. So this oxygen combines with 2 hydrogen to form water molecule, and this copper combines with what? Sulfate, it becomes as copper sulfate, CuSO4 plus water molecule. So now in total we'll write the balance reaction. Nascent oxygen get cancels, copper oxide get cancels, then what you have to take here? Copper combines with 2 moles of H2SO4, giving, this is a copper sulfate plus 2 moles of H2O plus SO2. So this is how the copper is oxidized to the copper sulfate. Here oxidation state is 0 and here it is what? Plus 2. This is oxidizing property of H2SO4. And the another point is, this H2SO4, it will form 2 types of salts. One is acidic salt and another is normal salt. Next point, H2SO4 forms 2 types of salts, that is first one is acidic salt and another is normal salt. Suppose if I take this H2SO4 on treating with NaOH, what it will form here? Here you have to remove OH and from acid you have to remove one H, so that you will get NaHSO4 plus 1 water molecule is removed here. So this is a sodium hydrogen sulfate. In this one still one acidic hydrogen is there, hence it is called as what? Acidic salt. This is your acidic salt. Suppose if I take this H2SO4 with 2 moles of NaOH, what happens here? 2 OH, 2 hydrogen, you form 2 moles of water and remaining is what? Na2SO4, sodium sulfate, Na2SO4 plus 2 moles of water, and this will be your normal salt. Okay, so this H2SO4 forms 2 series of salt, one is acidic salt and another is normal salt. The last reaction of H2SO4, that is a reaction of calcium fluoride with H2SO4, so that this calcium combines with sulfate ion to form calcium sulfate, 2 hydrogen combined with 2 fluorine to form 2 times of HF. So this is what oxoacids of sulfur, preparation of H2SO4 by contact process, and properties of H2SO4, oxidizing property as well as its affinity towards water, that is dehydrating property. This completes group 16.